every last person in this room, in the name of Jesus. Lord God, I plead the blood of Christ over every last member, every last person in this room, every last person listening by the sound of my voice online. And God, I declare right now, in Jesus' name, that your word is true, that it shall not sit idle in the bellies of your people, but it shall speak. And God, your word shall speak, and it shall say, recover. In Jesus' name we pray this thing. Amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Pastor Ron and Lady Bell here from the Arise Church. We just want to say thank you all so much for your continued support and for all of those who came out to hang out with us this past Friday. We started a series about relationships, and it was an amazing time in the Lord. God's presence was here, and so we just want to give you guys just a brief recap. RB3 is here and wants to say hello. He decided he wanted to be in the video today. So again, we're just going to talk to you guys a little bit about what we spoke about in terms of relationships. The first thing that we spoke about was how we bring our own perceptions of love into our relationships. We came from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 8. I really just touched on what love is from God's perspective. But the first point, again, was that we all bring our own baggage. We actually had a little demonstration. We had our own baggage, literally here in the building, and we went through a suitcase full of baggage. Actually, I had several bags that I spoke about in terms of what I brought into a relationship. Things such as my past relationships, past hurts, pains, anxieties, fears, and doubts. And those are some of the things that we all bring into our relationships. And so I'm going to let Pastor Bell tell us what we do with that baggage, because it's not necessarily about getting rid of that baggage. We have to be aware of what's in our baggage so that we can then move on to figure out what to do with it.
Listen, he's live. He's live.
All the way.
He's live. But yeah, so we all bring baggage into relationships. And whether that's on your job, whether that's with your family, whether that's with a spouse, or even with your children, you're always bringing baggage. And so the question becomes, what do you do with the baggage? Well, the reality is that you can't get rid of your baggage. You can't get rid of it. It's a part of your experience. It's a part of who you are. But what you can do is get rid of the weight of your baggage. When we enter into a relationship with Christ and we become yoked with Christ, Christ takes on the weight of our bags. And so even though we have all these experiences, all these stuff that happen to us, you know, the weight, the pressure, the heaviness of that is now on Christ. Yes. It's now on Christ. The text says, "Come unto me, all you who weary, and I will give you rest. Take upon me my yoke, for my yoke is easy, and my burden light." The yoke was this emblem that held together two oxen as they were in the field, and they were, you know, farmers were using them to sow and to lay wheat. The yoke was the thing that held them together. It's this thing that goes around the neck of the two oxen. And so what Christ is saying is, you've been carrying this thing around your neck. You've been carrying the weight of your bags around your neck. You've been carrying your experiences around your neck, your hurts, your pains, your fears, your scars, your wounds around your neck. I want you to take that off, take that weight off, and instead carry my yoke. And my yoke is easy. My yoke is love. My yoke is forgiveness. My yoke is mercy. My yoke is grace. And so as we take off the weight of our experiences, they have to go somewhere. And so where do they go? They go on to Christ. Yes. Christ says, "Give it to me, hand it over to me, and I will give you rest." Lady Bell talked about during the service the woman with the issue of blood, and how for 12 years she carried around her baggage. Yes. It had become who she was. It had become her title. She carried around her baggage. But it wasn't until she got into the presence of Christ, where she had to reach out and touch the hem of his garment, that she gets rid of her baggage and touches him. See, she couldn't hold on to her baggage and touch Christ at the same time. Yes. But when she lets go of her baggage and touches Christ, Christ turns around and says, my daughter, you're healed. And so he doesn't say, a woman with issue of blood, you're healed. He says, my daughter, you're healed. And he says that because her identity changes when the weight she's been carrying changes. See, as long as you're carrying the weight, your identity becomes wrapped up in that yoke of bondage. And so this anger you're carrying, you become anger. You become angry. This bitterness and frustration you're carrying, you become those things. But once you release it and take on the yoke of Christ, you become Christ's image. And so you become love. You become forgiveness. You become grace. And that's what God calls us to do. Love. 3, 2, sorry.
Listen, so you guys, we just wanted to give you just a snippet of what we spoke about in terms of relationships. We really want you all to think about what it is that you may be still carrying that you need to release to the Lord and just lay down at his feet so that you can move to the next level of your relationships, whether it's a marriage, whether it's with your mother, your father, your friends, co-workers. Just really think about what it means to be Christ-like and to display those characteristics, such as being patient, being caring, being loving, being loyal. And we know that from the Bible, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 8 reminds us of what it means to be Christ-like in terms of love and what it means to love one another. And we know that love will never fail us.